Hey guys, my name's Adam. That's King Adam the 17th to you peasants. And here are some tips to help you get through the early game of the Industrial Revolution 3 mod. Maybe you gave this mod a shot and didn't quite get the appeal? Well, this video is for you. I'm right in the middle of a Let's Play, you can check it out if you're interested, and I've learned a lot, both from the experience and from some really helpful comments from viewers like you. Keep them coming. So the first tip I have for you here is to collect this scrap, smelt it, and research automation ASAP. Look at all these juicy resources. They actually are more than enough to get started, along with the miners and furnaces you start out with. While we wait for our ingots, let's collect some wood and stone, both of which are helpful. With the ingots done, we can craft a steam derrick, a lab, and 10 red science packs. And that is all we need. I haven't even put down any miners yet. And wow, this is slow to research. Let's build another lab to make it go twice as fast. That's right, I can do it without ever collecting a single ore. But of course, you probably should. Now we can't craft any assemblers while automation is researching, but we can craft the intermediates we need. Motors, frames, pistons, steam pipes, and now we can start automating the most basic intermediates in small assemblers, which will dramatically reduce the number of handcrafts we need. Tip number 2, use delivery plates. After automation, logistics is probably the next research. Bots are nice too, but logistics gives you delivery plates, which are game-changing. You can set up a nice little mall of intermediate products, filter your inventory by middle-clicking on a slot, and then step on the delivery plate and enjoy the magic. You can even set up chests to take away your inventory. This is something I wasn't aware of until someone pointed it out in a comment. So thank you, Beefster09. Again, just set the filter in the chests, and it will take these items out of your inventory. You can get pretty cheesy with it, in fact, automating your entire factory if you want. But it's no substitute for proper belting, so don't get too over-reliant. Tip number 3, automate your intermediates. We've talked about the small assemblers crafting the basic intermediates, but there are a handful of intermediates you will want to focus on crafting in large assemblers. Motors, pipes, pistons, copper cap beams, frames, and anything else you might want in the early game. Inserters, belts, that sort of thing. Tip number 4, heavy roller. This bad boy is a bit of an investment, requiring a lot of bronze just to craft, not to mention the 10 roboports and 50 bots you'll want to fill it with. Everything in the early game is powered with steam cells, so you'll want a healthy supply of those as well. Then you can set up delivery plates to take the empty cells out of your inventory and replace them with full steam cells. Industrial Revolution 3 has a great fuel manager that takes care of everything, but you do have to make sure it is toggled on. Now all the fuel in your armor and the vehicle you are using is periodically topped off, and the empty cells are placed in your inventory. Let's see what 50 bots can do in the early game. Not bad. You'll still be happy when you unlock the regular old construction bots down the road, as these clockwork bots can't get speed upgrades. Tip number 5, optimize your forestries. You will need wood in the early game. Luckily, you can automate it. I like to put 4 forestries down close together in the corners of the chunks. Find where those chunks are by placing a forestry down. With a little trial and error, the forestries will be nice and tidy. Now these forestries won't do anything until you water them and make sure there are trees in the chunk. If you're trying to get wood out of a desert, you'll need to plant them yourself. The forestry will produce more wood if there are a lot of trees in the chunk. So you can plant a lot of trees at the beginning, or you can just plant a few and wait. Each tree in the chunk adds 2% to the probability that the forestry will output a piece of wood. You can see this probability over on the right side of the screen as the quote-unquote recipe pollution. Don't forget to plant rubber trees too. Those give you rubber wood. The forestries work the exact same way. Output the wood onto a belt using burner inserters, which will take the wood as a fuel. That way you don't have to worry about power or steam. It will just work. Also, the forestry will plant more trees on its own over time. Twice a day in game, the forestry has a chance of planting one additional tree. The probability is the same as the recipe pollution, 2% for each tree in the chunk, up to a maximum of 50 trees. So if you only plant one tree in the chunk, the forestry might take ages to plant the second tree, and then the third tree will also take a long time, etc. But if you plant several, you'll maximize the forestry's output in no time. We can see that in this editor. The forestry that started with 34 trees reaches its maximum fairly quickly. About 11 days. Whereas the other forestries that started with about 10 trees took between 30 and 50 days. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back sometime with mid-game tips and late-game tips. If you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them. And of course, share your favorite tips in the comments. I always enjoy reading all your kind words and suggestions. Until next time, y'all take care.